Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Visit Edo Page. Today, I'm going to be talking about two things that you need to look out for when starting a new business in Nigeria or in Edo State. Are you trying to invest in Edo State, or you want to start a new business, anything new there, and you think that you should have a name? Yes, it's really good to have business name because that makes you stand out among the others. It's always very important to have business name. So that's why I'm just going to talk about two things today. If business name and location. If you're already thinking about investing in Edo or in Benin, or you are thinking about the name that you're going to give to the company or what you're about to start up, when giving those papers to a lawyer or to somebody from CAC to help you to do the papers, I think there is two things you need to watch out for. First, you need to think about what kind of business you want to do, the name that you want to give to that business, so that the name goes a little bit with what you're really doing or what you're going to do or what you represent. So what you should watch out for is when you bring out those names, be very sure that is the name you want, and the moment you send those names to them to check if those names are available, don't let them come with suggestion to you. Because you can easily get it wrong and then you start regretting it later. So for example, I'll give you an example that happened to us because it's always good to use yourself as an example. For example, when we were about to register Edo Community Foundation, we had in mind that we wanted that name Edo Community Foundation, but then we set in those names, and there was somebody that called and said, oh, the name, we don't think that name will be available, so maybe you use Uyedo, or maybe there's a lot of other suggestions. So we decided, no, we don't want Uyedo, or we don't want other name. What we really want is Edo Community Foundation. So I think that is what we want to go for. So then we decided and said, okay, we're going to think about it a little bit. Then we thought about it. We knew what the company was going to represent. We said, no, this is what this NGO is all about. So we looked for another lawyer and we said, okay, we want this NGO to be registered as Edo Community Foundation. We don't want a second name. This is what we want. If this name is not there, then we'll have to rethink and before we decide. So if you are looking for business name and you're thinking about any name, you sat down, think about the kind of business you want to do, or you look into it and you decided on a particular name that this name is going to be very good for this business. You can choose two different names and be sure that those are the names you want. So any one of those two, you can easily go for that and said, okay, I'm going for this name is okay, and that is what I go for. So don't be confused, because when you give out these names and said, I want this name, it can happen that that name is already taken, and there's a lot of suggestion from the person that is processing those documents for you and said, why don't you choose this? Why don't you take this? This is similar. Just add Y to the ending and it's okay. Or just add IS to it and become something else. Still sound, it's still the same thing. So avoid that. My advice is that you should avoid that, because some people do register that and later they say that it's not, that name is not really going with what they really wanted to do. So you have to check for the name, be sure that's the name that you want. And when they come for that name and said your name is not available, then if the name is not available, take some time to think about it again and think about, look at what you're going to do, everything, even if it's an NGO, look at what you represent and think about another name, and you can search for another name to see if another name is available. So don't just choose name because you want to choose, or because there's some people, there are even some of these lawyers or people from this government office that tell you, don't worry, when everything is registered, you can easily change the name later to the kind of name, the name you want and all. I don't think you should go for that. That is just too stressful. So be very sure about the name, and when you have the name in your heart, stick to that name. Don't let them change it. And if that name that you're looking for is not there, you take the alternative name that you have already written. You can write up to 5 names or 3 names that you think you want, that you can pick from. If this doesn't go, this goes and this goes. So those are the names that you keep on trying to say if they come, because you really have to be connected to that name of that business. You really have to feel comfortable to what you're going to represent. So the second thing I'm going to think about, going to say today is that if you're thinking about maybe is office while you're registering that business and you're thinking about location, I'll be very it's something you really need to look into, which location. So while you're doing the trying to register the company, you're also trying to look for the location of your business. If it's office or wherever you're going to be, then you have to start to think about location. So location is very important. So because many of us, we normally get that location wrong, or sometimes we even think that some areas might be good for the business. It happens that maybe another area is more preferable. So it's always like that. So you really have to think about your kind of business. Where do you think the location of that business and all that story? Like we in Visit Edo, when we were thinking about location, we were thinking, a lot of people said, oh, for this kind of business, gallery, souvenir, and all those story is better in GROA. But for me, I knew that I wanted that ancient street, because all what we represent was the tradition and culture. And it has something to do with ancient time. It is the feeling of what the ancestors left behind. So because of that connection that I felt directly to that whole thing, I said, no, I prefer the kind of street that is really is an old street, like forestry. My grandparents were living at forestry. I can say that I spent some years living with them there. So forestry is one of the area that I really love, because as a child I was always there. So forestry, you have Akpakpava, you have so many. You have a Kenwan Road, and also you have Plymouth, you have this Sapler Road, and you have this Sokmomba Road, where our office is located. So you really have to think about the kind of business that you're setting up, and you think about the area, how connected it is to that kind of business that you're about to set up, the kind of people that your customers, the people that will be reaching out to you. So those things are very important to take a look at. But sometimes after location, you might have some regret, because maybe some people will come to you to tell you, oh, that location was the wrong one. But as long as you know in your heart what you're going to do, the nature of the business, just stick to it and be happy with it, and just go for the success and work hard to achieve your goal. So those two things are what I have in mind this morning that I was wanting to share with you all. So think about those things if you're looking for a name or a location. So those two things are really important to look into, and kind of find how to come up to agreement with yourself what is best. So this video is a short one. I'm going to try to make more videos this time. I've always said it in many videos, but I get so busy with work. So this is the starting of this business. We have this business corner on Visit Edo. So that business corner, I'm going to be coming out and talking about the things, challenges, and all. So these two is just the ones I'm going to talk about today. So I'm sure before the end of the week, I'm going to come up with another topic related to business when investing in Edo, things that you should check out for, things that you should be expecting, and things so that it doesn't just happen and you get confused. So please don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget, comment on our video. We love comment. We want somebody to say something about what we're doing. We want encouragement. We even want somebody to tell us if we're going on the wrong way or right way. So it's always good to see people's comments, and I really appreciate all the people that have been commenting on our videos and everything. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. Wawese. Bye bye. Wawese.